so long, I didn't even know how to do it. Like I'd never even seen someone do it in front of me. Like everyone wanted to double down. Up to that point, all of my relationships were people that were doubling down on this is just who I am. Instead of like, well, this is my intention of what I want to move into. And I don't even know how I'm going to get there. But like I'm going to be putting in, like I'm still going to be leading with that. And I'm going to let people see that I'm like just here for all of it. Yeah. And like, and then mostly that you're here for them. Like that is like an openness to connection. Like that is just like you being open to like I love to sit back and watch people just like flock to you because they're like, oh my gosh, this is a person that will see me. And I'm like, yeah, he is. And like, and I'm like, I know that it's going to be 4 hours before I can speak to you again when you have like people that are seeing you speak. And I love that. But back to that first day, I just was like absolutely stricken by what you do. And it's still what you do to this day. I like love watching you just interact with other human beings and like just lead like that. I think it gave me permission to be that way in my own life. And it influenced me so much. And that's why I was so taken with you that day. And I wanted to stay. So Ryan and I actually, I guess this is just our intro. We're going into the first day we met. Yeah. And, like he said, it was like, everything was very like, like set up for us. And we're kind of like trying to talk in between, like there's a production happening. Like we're just kind of trying to be like, hey, like, thank you for being here. I remember you kind of like talking to me, but I want you to say your initial reaction to the photos that were sent over to you.
So when I got the folder the night before and they were like, this is your model for tomorrow, like, it's not like are you approving this or anything? It was like, here you go, this is who's coming tomorrow. And I looked at like 3 or 4 of the photos, and I mean, it's like embarrassing to say now, but I was just like, oh wow, these are awful. I doubt I said that out loud because I'm not a very mean person, but just looking at like your face was just so photoshopped, and it was like sequin dress and high heel stuff. And I was like, well, yeah, like whatever, everything we're doing is just kind of like run and gun. It'll be whatever it is. Like, I don't think I felt like negative or upset, just like, oh wow, okay, there's nothing here for me to know what to do with from here. So whatever. And then I remember you walking in the door, and I think I was already like starting to speak, but a really big thing for me is like, you got to treat the person you're with like you're in this together. So I think I just took a break from, hold on, I got to go say hi to this person. And I walked over as you were going to start your hair and makeup. And one of the first things you told me was like, hey, I'm sorry, I don't know if they told you this, or I don't know if you could tell, but like I have a cleft lip, and like you can edit it out if you need to, or like I don't know if you knew. And I was instantly just like, well, one, as soon as I saw you, I was like, oh wow, this is gonna go so much better than I thought. 'Cause without any hair or makeup done, you looked so interesting and beautiful, and and then I saw your lip, and I was like, one of my favorite things is just something different, like something, I don't even know what to say, just like, and that you like a little bit timidly informed me of it, and my brain was just like, oh no, it's the best part of your face, like this is gonna go amazing.
And then just to like experience that, I mean, like you have to think about like what that like younger me version had experienced up to that point, that I even felt the need to say that. Like, that just makes me kind of sad to think about, but it makes me just so extra grateful, because in that moment, like something was rewiring in my brain. Like, this is not something that you are even supposed to feel that way. Like, you changed what beauty was to me, like in our work together. Like, the first photos we got back, I was like, I mean, it was like hard for me to look at them. Like, I had to like look away. Like, I was like, oh my God, like I couldn't, it was there was part of me that loved it. And there was part of me that was like, it's hard for me to look at. And I think that that's like your work in summary. Like,
yeah, I love that description.
it's absolutely like, it's just like it was like me so vulnerable. Mind you, it's a portrait. Like, it felt like it said everything that I had been hiding for years. It felt like it was just like all of everything. I was like afraid to meet my own gaze.
I think that one of the ones in the window, and I'll send it to you so you can put it up, that color one that's like blue toned has a lot of just like real face-to-face contact in it. And you could like feel what it felt like to be there, which is always my favorite description of that.
And it was like weird because we've done, I mean, like, I'm talking thousands of photos together. But for some reason, that first day, you could see in the photos that I'm moving through that with myself. Like, that I'm bringing my face to, like, actually not shy away from it. And it almost looks like a little more prominent in it, like my lip and everything.
Yeah,
like,
in one of them, it's definitely noticeable.
It's definitely noticeable. And it was like, I remember, like, I remember, like, being like, I had a moment just by myself before we started shooting, and I was like, I have to leave everything I've ever learned about modeling at the door. Like, I can't take any of that with me. Like, what modeling is to me, everything I've learned, I'm like, this person just laid it out. Like, he wants to just see me, like, as I am, complete. You even said, like, just how you're sitting is so beautiful. Just the way that you are is just perfect. So just keep doing that. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I remember one of the things that led to that. I guess a little bit of context is helpful in explaining it. It was, the thing we were shooting at was also kind of a workshop. So I was like setting up a shoot, but there were also like 12 students there that I was also in charge of teaching.
Yeah.
And even though it was just some like styled shoot with a model, part of my new goal was to explain to people like what was going on with me. So I was talking about like anxiety and depression and wanting to make my work feel important and beautiful and personal. And I didn't know if that was going to happen today. And I didn't even really know how to do that. But these were the kind of things that mattered to me. And I was going to do my best today. And even if it didn't work out like that day, these were still the things I cared about and was pursuing. And you were getting your hair and makeup done in the same room.
In the same room.
And I think you came up to me like before we started shooting, after you had heard me like say all that, and said something to the effect of like, I want to make work like that. I was like, amazing. Like, I don't know if we'll get it today, because today we're going to have like a bunch of cameras and students following us around, and we just met, and that's a lot of energy to manage. But then we were filming like 2 episodes a day. You were only supposed to be there from like 10 to like 2 p.m. or something. And then we had a whole other segment to go shoot out in the desert. And I remember you asked when it was like, well, thanks, we're done. You asked if you could stay.
And that was very like big for me. Like, I was not at that point where I was super outgoing. I was very like timid and shy. And I was like, I don't think I can leave.
Yeah. So you came with us out to the desert. You stayed like 8 hours longer than we planned. And then, I mean, we obviously just talked a bunch. And then by the end of that day, I was like, I want to work together again. Yeah.
I mean, it was such a, like, I mean, well, I was telling Ryan this yesterday that I had no intention of going on that day.
That's wild.
Everyone had to say no to me for me to show up, which, I mean, like, just in retrospect, I'm like, that was absolutely like divine. Like, I was like, no one wants to hang out. I might as well go make some extra cash. Like, I'll just go. And then we ended up like immediately after all of that, like shooting again in Vegas. Like, right, you were.
But before I even left Las Vegas, we shot one more time.
Yeah.
And that was our first time shooting alone.
Yeah.
And like went pretty good, but just having the opportunity, like I was talking about earlier, to meet someone and be like say out loud, this is what I'm about. This is the things I care about. This is what I'm trying to work on and don't really know how to get there. And to have someone meet me with that of like, I want to do that too, was such a huge step for me in my own work, because I had always just been internalizing all of that and hoping my work would move that direction without having someone to not just work with, but like talk to about that. And then, man, once a couple shoots in, when we started getting some unique stuff, it just absolutely steamrolled from there.
Yeah. I mean, and so like, I feel like back to even that, like the beginning was almost like just huge for both of us. Like, it was really like the first time either of us had really like kind of got into like a dynamic like this where it was like that we even like, I'm like, I don't even think I ever saw anyone else do it. Like, I don't even think I ever saw two people set out, a model and a photographer, like to shoot for extended periods of time through whatever they were going through and capture all of it, the like good, the bad, the ugly, all of those things. And I mean, we will go into that, but like, I'd never really seen it done. And it was just like, I think both were just like, this is something that we need to follow. Like, this is something that we both feel drawn to and that we need to like see through. And like, that was just the beginning. And then, like he said, like the first, so I want to break this down because I think you almost have to know like the backstory of the two, but we both come, like Wei said, come from like very religious backgrounds. And, you know, when we were shooting together, like I'm having grandmas calling me on the phone, like, what are you doing? Like, this is not what we do. Mind you, we're not even really shooting anything crazy. Like, there was nothing really going down. I mean, I think we had like one like backless photo that we took and my phone was ringing off the hook. I was in deep shit and I was like, oh my God, and at that point I didn't even really know what it was, but I did. And I remember having a conversation with one of my family members and being like, I need to do this. It's like, I need to do it for my soul. Like, I'm so sorry if this lets you down in any type of way. Like, it's not my intention to actually hurt anyone, but I feel like this is what I need to do. Up to that point, there was so much like physical shame I was carrying. Yeah. And I was scared shitless to do it. Like, I mean, to even be naked on camera, and I'm going to just throw that out there. That's what it was. I was just like, it started so slow, like me, like literally like trembling in my nakedness and like holding my whole body and like covering everything. Like, I was so scared of myself. And when I would think about that and I'd go home, you know, or even in that moment, I'm like, look at how scared of just being you are. Like, look at how scared of your own body you are. Like, this world has made you afraid of the only thing that you have here. Like, the only thing that you came here with, you are afraid of in ways. Oh. And that was the shame. And that was like these unlocking situation that I was having in those moments. I'm like, why am I so afraid of myself? Why does other people have more control over my physical body than I do? Like, why am I giving that? Because it's mine to give. So like, why is that theirs? Why is the validation more important than what I want? Like, than what feels like it's